Hello everyone, let's see if I can check that it's working right now and then we can get started. Check that it's working right now. Okay, is the sound can be a bit low. I'm going to, oh no, actually the sound can be a bit low. No, it's a bit low, so I'm gonna increase that quickly. Maybe here, yeah, here. Okay, let's check that again. How is that? Maybe here, yeah, here. Okay, let's check that again. How is that? Yes, that is a lot better. So we can get started. Great. Okay, let's check that again. How is oh, great. All right, that's amazing. So, hello everyone. Welcome to my stream, my Idle Callback stream. It's been a while since I did these streams before, so this is my third one. But the previous one was, I think, a few months ago, so apologies for that. But I'm back, and I would like to continue doing some more streams. So, and yeah, this is the first of many, I hope. And I want to start by saying that during the stream, I usually work on the Firefox Profiler or Firefox itself sometimes. So I have two tasks for today, which is one is Firefox Profiler related. So it's more for, this is a bug where we've encountered in Firefox Profiler, but it can be affected by, like, other components can be affected by that. And if we have time, I want to work on the Firefox performance APIs. So in performance observer callback, we had this dropped entries count that's not implemented in Firefox. So I would like to spend some time and take a look and start adding it. I don't know if we're gonna have time or if we're gonna be able to start, but at least if we can finish the first one quickly, I want to have a look of that quickly before finishing the stream, and then in the next stream maybe we can continue with that task. But let's start with the request idle callback. I think I mention it every time before starting the stream itself. So this is one of the APIs that we have in JavaScript in DOM, and it's an API that is used to get like request idle period from the browser so we can run some callback in there. So, and I like this. So this is implemented in Firefox and Chrome Edge, not exactly in Safari, I think. But I like the idea of this callback because it also fits well in this stream, because like this is my idle time and this is where I do something productive that is small, but it's impactful still. So, and when I'm blocked on like other big projects, or when I want to do something different, this is where I do it. So yeah, this is done. And let's start with the first task then quickly, right? So it says JSON writer outputs invalid JSON for infinity. So this is the bug, and let's take a look at the bug itself first. It's reported by Marcus, our colleague, and apparently like this is an example profile that he put there. We can check in Profiler itself. We download it and we drag and drop, and it says, oh no, like unserializing this profile failed, and this is the error. Syntax in JSON parse, unexpected, non-digit at line 1, column, blah, blah, blah. And if you look at the error itself, it happens in JSON.parse. So what is that and why this is happening? It says the invalid JSON is encountered when parsing -infinity. The incorrect value was output as latency of a pointer move DOM event marker. We should fix JSON writer to not output infinity or -infinity, and things like that. So, and we had a bit of back and forth apparently. So it looks like there is a bug in DOM event marker itself that results as having an infinity value in pointer move, right? So this is in latency, I think, right? Latency. Yeah, it's in latency, and we can check that. So let's check DOM event marker here. So this is the marker definition itself that we use in Firefox. So whenever a DOM event is being fired, we have like these three fields: event target, latency, and event type. So this is the latency that we had an issue about. It is time duration, and it's duration input type. And here you can see that we get a time duration for streaming. So this is the place where we stream these values into JSON, and latency is being used here. So we call a writer.double property and a latency.2 milliseconds. And let's check this, if this can cause us having like an infinity value, maybe like divide by 0, but no. So and 2 seconds, I assume there is no division here either. Maybe here. Let's check Darwin implementation. Oh, we have a division, but it's a constant value and it's not 0. So it's not the problem. Probably there is something else going on. Like Marcus said, I think the marker chart shows that some pointer move events have useful latency and some do not. And this is an example profile. Yeah, so it's filtered by pointer move. And so, for example, this doesn't have any latency, or these don't have any. Oh, did I see one? I don't see that. Oh, here we go. So we do have a latency here, 500 milliseconds, 5,000 milliseconds, or is it 5.6 milliseconds? Sorry. Yeah. So apparently we have some useful latencies in some, but not in all of them. So I think the ones that may have fired via this one. So we're not gonna fix this issue that we have in DOM events. I think that's task for another bug. So I will file that after. But 1 second, let me make sure everything works well. Yes, great. So I think we don't have to think about that now, but I think what we need to do is to fix JSON, yes, JSON stringify, or our JSON writer should act like JSON stringify, right? And let's say that we have like test and infinity. It outputs test column null, right? So the infinity value becomes null if you do this, null. And I think it's the same for nan, not a number also becomes null. So I don't think we actually handle those two cases in the JSON writer that we have inside Firefox, which is a different component than JSON stringify. So this works well. This is like the spec compliant version, but the one that we have doesn't work correctly. We can check that. Let's take a look. So this is the double property. So maybe when we're serializing the double property, there is something going on. So let's check, go to the definition of this. And this is where we serialize this value. So we have a double conversion converter. It uses ECMAScript converter. ECMAScript. Okay, so this is using the ECMAScript values. Oh, for example, yeah, infinity, nan, and exponential values are being converted directly. I guess I have a question, like how do we handle the exponential values? 1e. Okay, so exponential values are valid JSON values. Only infinity and nan are not. valid. So what we need to do probably, what is this? This is a converter. And how do we use this exactly? So we get converter dot to shortest, and we get the double value, and then we get the string builder, and then we make it span and finalize it. The builder should know the length. Why? I don't know. Who wrote this? Gerald. What does finalize do? It adds a null value at the end. It's null terminated version. Okay. So I think not the shortest is not the problem, right? So this is not the thing. Let's check the constructor of this ECMAScript converter. And then we have this, we have this infinity and nan. I think these are the issues that we need to fix. And let's find a declaration of it to see if there's any comments. Yeah, we do. So converter following ECMAScript specification. Unix 0, emit positive exponent signs and special values. Oh, here we go. Infinity and nan. I think, yeah, we need to change this. Like have a different converter, like a JSON converter that's a static constructor also that returns a new converter, but have either null here or have maybe, can we put, let's see how other places use this. So we have this in internationalization, has the same, probably it's like a copy paste. Here we go. What do we have? Infinity nan. So this is not the one, I guess. So we have, oh, here we go. So we have null pointer passed inside this constructor. Probably we want this, right? We want to be able to return null pointer. And how does the constructor handles this? So it was infinity symbol, nan symbol. So these are the values that they take, and this is the thing. How do we, not this, but how do we use this? For example, we check if double conversion null pointer. And what is this? Just a null pointer. So we can use this macro, I assume, to pass, to create a new one, right? So we're going to create a new converter that has, instead of infinity and nan, we're going to pass these, and then we're going to have another one. So I think, yeah, it's pretty explanatory what we can do. Let's copy the URL, I mean the file, and let's find the file in our editor. So this is the one that we have, right? So this is the ECMAScript converter that we do. Let's check also again. Oops. Yes. So yeah, I think what we need to do is to have another converter that passes null pointer. So I'm gonna copy and paste this function and have JSON, is it JSON converter? Like have a converter that's called this, and instead of this, we're gonna have maybe not null pointer, but what was that one? Double conversion null pointer. So, oops, we are gonna have double conversion null pointer, and we're gonna have the same thing for this as well. And It's formatted in a way that's different. Let's go to another branch, by the way. So let's do JSON double converter. And let's do gdiff. What's the diff that we have currently? Oof, apparently it wasn't formatted properly, or my formatter is different than this. So, and it became a problem. So I'm gonna disable my formatter for now, save it. Yeah, and lint fix should format this automatically. Okay, it says fixed with different 0 changes. Okay, I disabled it for now, but what we are, let me format enable, but format this disable only in this buffer. And we need to define this too, right? So we have this, we copy paste, oops. So it's gonna be, we're gonna change it to JSON converter. And we need to change the comment. Returns a converter following the JSON converter following the JSON conversion. Converter, yeah, I guess JSON compatible. Is JSON a specification? I couldn't write it, but it's like, I guess following JSON format. For now, let's think about this later. We can change that. But the special values are gonna be infinity and nan, and here we're gonna say, yeah, I don't know what to do with that yet. So, or I don't know what this does. Let's check this again. So if infinity symbol equals double conversion null pointer, then we return false. Then let's check here. Converter. Where was the place that we used this in JSON writer? Here we go. And here, I guess to shortest. Does it return something? Yes. I think this will return false when this symbol is null pointer, because I think that happens, right? Where do we use this? Yeah, let's check here. The shortest, yeah, we use this inside. So I think it means that it will return false, and then we need to handle the failure case inside the JSON writer CPP. We have double property or double. No, oh, maybe is it in header? Apparently it is. Yeah, here we go. So this is the converter that we have. I will change that to JSON converter, I assume. Let's check. Right, so now let's try building it to see if it's gonna build. And then in the meantime, I can think about the comment and how to change it. Special values, infinity, and then return false, and need to be handled in the color. And I would say split that Yeah, I think that's better. And maybe, yeah. And return converter following the JSON. That is serializable to JSON. Is it correct spelling? Yeah. I don't know why it says that. Good, that is serializable to JSON. And JSON converter, we have the proper ones. I feel like the others can stay the same, right? Whereas the constructor here. Yep. I think it's fine to leave the others. Like we have nan symbol, exponent character, infinity symbol, decimal in shortest low, decimal in shortest high. Okay. Max leading padding, zeros in precision mode, and mean exponent width. Okay. I think they're fine to leave that way. There's a huge comment that we can read to understand it more, I guess. Let's see. Ooh, yeah, that's a huge comment. The flags are self-explanatory. Immutable and nonce will provide the string representation for these special values. If the string is null and the special value is encountered, then the conversion function returns false. Okay, that's what we got also. So it looks like we're on the right track. Yes, E is fine too, as we've seen. Like we can serialize exponent characters properly, and I feel like the others can stay the same. Okay, so we have a build error. Where is that? Format.h. That's interesting. Can I check the gdiff first? So this is changed, right? We've added the JSON converter. Oh, yeah, okay. We also formatted this incorrectly. We can revert that later. And JSON converter is here too. Oof, yeah. I assume when we do maclint fix, that's gonna fix the issues. No, that's weird. But I can remove those changes after. Okay, what's the issue that we have here? Let's build again one more time to see the errors. In the meantime, feel free to ask me any questions, and it would be great if you can like and subscribe as well. Oh, why do I have that? Alrighty. Let's check. It's building. Maybe I did it incorrectly before because there were some build issues, but now it seems like it's actually building. So let's take a look. It takes a while, but the desktop, I'm using the desktop machine that I have, which is very powerful usually, so it should build in a matter of minutes from scratch. And usually like the consecutive builds are a lot shorter. Probably it's taken longer because we've changed like JSON writer header, which is probably included in pretty much a lot of places with this header too. It is building. And then I guess we're gonna test this. We need to think if there is any test for this JSON writer. Because I can test it locally, like build it, run it, and see if it works. But it's better if you have already some test suite that does this. And it looks like we do. It's in MFBT tests. So let's take a look at this file in our editor too. So we have this one. So, for example, these things. Oof. And at the end we have a main. I'm gonna add another function, I assume, and then I'm gonna copy and paste maybe this one. Like we have one expected string, and then we call some of these things. Like we start the writer, we write some properties, and they do, for example, some arrays and things like that. And then they call end, and then they check. Okay, that seems pretty easy to do actually. Let's do that. So here we have this, let's copy, and let's go here, paste, and test invalid double chars, invalid double values. And then we can add that here too. And will stay properties. Yeah, that will stay. Okay, so let's do this. So I guess we can do infinity, and then we pass, oops, no, infinity. Is that how we pass it, by the way? How do we do it in infinity in C++ again? This should belong to like a header or something. I mean from infinity. It's a bit different here. So maybe this is what I want. But I can just check the function, right? That checks this is infinite. How do we see that? So we get the UN64 version of it. Exponent mask. Okay. Significant mask. Interesting. So maybe that works. Like let's check infinity right now, and let's see if it's gonna build. Let's do this, and let's see. Probably this is going to be. Yeah, I can change this, right? Let's see. How should I do? Yes, yeah, let's do it at infinity. And then we have null. Let's check if that's gonna work. Yes, build was successful, by the way. So it looks like that worked. And how do we run this test again? So is this a G test or a different type of test? G test. No, G test. No, this is a. Oh, I think it was like a CPP. Yeah, CPP unit test. So this is. How do we run these again? I always forget them. There are so many so many test suites that always gets me confused. Testing here. Unit test. Unit. Why CPP unit? I can't see. muck. There's a cpp unit test muck command apparently, yeah. This cpp unit test h. It runs cpp unit tests, and what does it accept? Command arguments. N, test to run, can be specified as one or more files or directories, or omitted. If omitted, the entire test suite is executed. Okay. Probably that's not what I want. Oh, I think I should have like a thing. Oh, wait a second. I think I have a document on how to run cpp unit tests in my notes somewhere. Okay, we find the object directory. So like we do object directory. What happened? Which one do we have? I think, oops. Why is this slow? One more time. We want opt, I think. Okay, and then dist dir, no, dist bin and test. Let's check what we have. JSON. Okay, test JSON writer. I think you run it this way. Yes. Okay, so now it was expecting null, but it actually got nothing. This is what we need to change, right? Here. So this actually returns success. It's if it's successful or not, or yeah, full success. If success, then do this, right? And if it's not successful, I would expect it to do null. And how do we serialize null? Null property. Yeah. I need to call this one. Okay, let's go and paste this. And then we have a name. And let's build it again and see if it's gonna work. Right, this returns a Boolean parameter. So yeah, we're on the right path, I think. Let's see. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask. Hopefully, so this is the issue that we had in Firefox Profiler, but I think this is being used by other places too, and not just the profiler itself. So probably we're fixing it in other places as well, like event dispatcher, DD log value, media log, profiler, screenshot. Yeah, this is screenshot related stuff that we have in profiler. This profiler. Yeah, mostly profiler, but some other places too, like this one, for example. Or this is profiler too, I think. Yeah. Yeah, because we changed the header file again, we are rebuilding the whole project again, so which takes a while. And yeah, this is Boolean, and null property should do that. And when we run this test, it's going to be correct, but let's check other things too. Like we have minus infinity, right? And then we also have what do I have? None. How do I do nan? Is this a thing? In CMath, okay. We included it there. Yeah, CPP nan value. In C, nan is declared in math C. I think math.c is cnan in C++. This quite nan. What's this? Okay, I think I'm happy with nan. What are you building? So we're working on a bug in Firefox Profiler. It's this bug. I'm building Firefox because Firefox Profiler lives inside Firefox. So we changed these things in the JSON writer, and we changed some stuff. So this is the bug that we had. It was saying that JSON writer outputs invalid JSON for -infinity. So, and what I was saying is that usually JSON.stringify prints null, but in our world, in the JSON writer that we have for the Firefox Profiler, it was trying to output infinity, and that was incorrect. So I work on some specific parts of Firefox, and it's impossible to know every part of Firefox. It's a huge code base, and that's why I try to learn more and more, but it's a huge code base. So we use SearchFox for like searching things inside. That's why I was like looking into how we actually create a new converter for double and then do that. Yeah, I work for Mozilla. I work in the Firefox Profiler project. I was an individual contributor before, but it was like 7 years ago, and I did an internship in Mozilla, and then I was hired. So I've been working for Mozilla for more than 7 years, I think. So yeah, this is the issue that we had, and that's the one we are fixing right now. And yeah, let's see. And this is the test that we were adding. So we are gonna add, is negative nan a thing in JavaScript? Let's see. Not really, but it doesn't complain either. And how does it react when I do nan? It's null. When I do negative nan, it's again null. I guess we should check that in our test too. So neg nan could be something. And then we need to change our expected string. So it's gonna be neg infinity. I can't write sometimes. This one is going to be null again. And then we're gonna have nan, which is null, and then we're gonna have neg nan, which is null again. Oh, I forgot to close here. Let's build and test. So yeah, we checked this value if it works correctly, and it was working correctly. CPP unit tests that we are running passed. Great. So let's try to make it fail, to just check, like it's just to be sure that it's actually oh, we need to build again just to make sure that it's actually running the test. You played with Rust? Yes, a little bit. Especially when I was an intern, I was doing my internship in Servo project, and for that, like I was very interested in Rust. And in Firefox Profiler, we also have some Rust parts. If you go to Searchfox and Profiler API, or no, Rust API. So we have a Rust API in Firefox Profiler, basically, that that lets us like instrument the Rust part of Firefox, so we can get more information from Profiler. So the Profiler's website is profiler.firefox.com, and that's like how you use it. So that you enable by clicking on this button, and then once you do that, this pop-up shows up. Then you can start recording, do some stuff like Google, then you stop, and then you capture the performance profile of things of your Firefox and the website. So it's useful for code developers, but also useful for web developers if you want to improve your website performance. I thought Firefox code was moved to Rust. Well, it's a lot more complicated than that, because we do have Rust code in Firefox, but Firefox is a huge code base. That's why like it is so difficult to replace everything. So we have the style engine, like servo style engine was actually like moved inside Firefox. So, and then servo was like a prototype browser engine, and then it became like an independent browser engine after that. So they left Mozilla, or there was a layoff actually that caused this. But so yeah, so overall we have lots of Rust code. If you look at this in here, like we have lots of Rust files. But since Firefox itself is huge, it's really difficult to replace everything from scratch or write it from scratch. So we both use C++ and Rust at the same time, and whichever is like useful for, or like if you're starting a new project, probably you're starting with Rust. Yeah, what do we do? Let's continue. Let's take a look at this. Yeah, we build it and we start running. And then yes, like we did here, it was doing that, and now let's start again. Let's build it and run the new test, and it should now pass. Mac CPP unit test, yes. Yes, it passed. So we actually fixed this problem. Now what do we need to do? So let's review our code again. Let's see if we can improve it. So this was the things that we changed, and I think this looks correct to me. Now we check, we converted it to JSON converter, and then we check if it's successful. If it is, then we finalize it. If it's not, then we return null. And we added a new JSON converter here. These parts are, yeah, changed now. Like the formatter did some stuff to us. So let's add one by one. So I want this, keep this. I want this, keep that. Don't keep it, don't keep it, keep this. Yeah, I think I should keep this too. No. So apparently this file is not formatted properly. I think we should format it, but it's not the job for this patch. So that's why I'm keeping it this way. Oh, by the way, maybe we should have a valid double value too. So that way we will check if it really like fixes the issue and properly serializes the valid one. So let's do that, and then let's go back here, and then we're gonna have another one, right? Valid, and then what's that? 1.5. So this should actually work again, but we need to build again, and then we need to run the tests one more time. All right, so now passed. Great. And okay, add. Let's add the things again. Not this one, 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 not this one either. Yes to this, yes to this. And then we can commit this now. Oh no, wait, this right bug. So let's copy the bug number from here and paste it here. Bug serialize the invalid double values correctly in JSON writer. The thing I don't know is the integer values. Actually, we should check that too. Int property int. And what happens if we write infinity to this one? Let's check. Let's build again and run. Yeah, probably, yeah, this shouldn't happen, right? Because infinity is actually double or float, so can't pass an infinity to this one. And int 3. Oh yeah, that is incorrect because of the conversion, I assume. But at least we're not resulting an invalid JSON here. So let's fix double first, and then we can think about the integer later. Alright, so I think we can revert these changes because we don't need them anymore. Or let's see. Def. Oops. Okay, I didn't commit this still. Let's do, or here I was committing that. Okay, and let's append the message of this commit. So I explained this a little bit previously. And double is incorrect here. Previously, double property. Let's do this. Method was converting the double, the infinite, and then double values incorrectly or directly, and that was incorrect because JSON doesn't accept infinity and nan values. Or because, let's do it like this, because infinity and nan values are invalid JSON values. I can remove that. And yeah. And now we are converting them to null properly. They're similar to .stringify. Okay. we added some explanation. Actually, I need to add a reviewer. I guess I'm gonna add Marcus here since he knows the context already. Yeah, I guess I can. I don't know. I'm gonna keep this change even though it's not the perfect one. And then let's do like a try run. So try is basically what's okay. Yeah, let's remove those. A try run means so we send some try pushes to our CI in cloud. So and the try runs, like we have like a website called Tree Herder. So and this is our CI, like testing framework, and like you can see which tests are failed or not. And I should push a try run to make sure that it actually passes in the CI too, and it doesn't regress other things in the meantime. It takes a while to generate this. In the meantime, if you have any questions, happy to answer them. So let's run it in Linux. CPP unit test. I want them. Maybe not ASAN and TSAN. And profiler. We don't have profiler gtests. Let's run gtests too. Yeah. Well, I don't want the Android ones. Let's remove them actually. Ooh, that's a lot of Androids. Oh, actually, I think I made a mistake. Let's run it again. So I should have done gtest like this and Linux only. Okay, that's done. And CPP unit, this is done too. Let's include TSAN, ASAN, whatever. That's not a problem. And yeah, let's run. Okay, so we pushed to try, and I will get that at some point in the future. I don't know when, but I think I can say that this task is pretty much fixed. I will just push this to review after this. I guess I can do that now. Like let me check if this is the correct bug number. Yes. And gshow, let's check. So let's invalid double values correctly in JSON writer. Okay. Yep. This looks good to me. Then most submit. So we submit it for review. Let's check it. Here we have that. Yeah, looks okay to me. And yeah, we need to think about how we deal with integer values, but yeah, they I guess wrap around, so it's not going to be a problem for that. So we're done with the first task. Now the second one is the dropped entries count. Let's open the bug for that too. I don't think I will be able to finish this, but let's just start looking at it, because it requires us to look at the spec a little bit and try to understand how we can implement it. And then probably on the next next session that we're gonna have, we can do that inside the stream again. So as I said, we currently don't support dropped entry counts in Performance Observer Callback. So this is if you look at that, let's check that in Google. So there's a Performance Observer API in in DOM, in web APIs, and this is how you use it. So you create a new observer, and then you observe new entries when they come along. So like, for example, this code is observing mark and measure entries, but you can actually observe, like, there are so many more entry types than just measure and mark. And one thing that the callback receives, where is that? Is it here? Yeah, one thing that the callback has is apparently options and then dropped entry counts. So we can see that in spec as well. So see, this is the dropped entry counts, and there's like a performance observer callback options, and this is the third argument of this callback. But let's check the callback inside Firefox. This is the callback, and as you can see, we only have two arguments. One is entries and the other one is observer. Entries, observer, that is correct, but options is not there. So we need to add this, right? And we need to implement that. So how is this implemented in the spec? Let's read the spec a little bit to understand how we can implement this in Firefox. So this is dropped entries count. And it says an integer representing the dropped entries count for the entry type that the observer is observing when performance observers requires drop entries is set. It requires dropped entries. Where is that? Requires dropped entries. How do you set this? Oh. Okay, when we call observe, we automatically set it apparently. So it's always true when we start observing. And what is this? So when the observer is being queued, if PO, what is PO? Registered observers observer is set, perform the following steps. Set dropped entry count to 0. Okay. And then for each performance observer init item, do this. For each DOM string enter type that appears either as items type or in items enter types, blah, blah, blah. If PO is required, okay. Interesting. So we set it false here. Weird. That's not so weird, no. And dropped entries. This is when we queue the performance observer task. And do we have anything else? We only have it here apparently. But this thing is what we need, right? Determine if a performance entry buffer is null. We increase it here, okay. And then we initialize it to 0. It looks like a very simple API actually. We can do that in the next stream. So yeah, apparently this is the thing that we have missing. And also let me show you how I figured, like how I realized that we don't have this implemented, because I had this Firefox Web IDL report website that I wrote, and I was looking at the performance APIs because I mainly work on the performance related things, right? So we have some missing IDLs, but we also have some missing members. And I saw that, this performance observer list interface, and like these were missing, this callback options was missing. So this was how I figured that out. We ideally need to implement all of those, but that's a task for another day. So do we have this implemented? No, we don't have it at all. So we need to add this dictionary with the dropped entries count to our performance observer web IDL, I assume. This one, yep. We're gonna add this here, and we're gonna do that. Yeah, this is the callback, and yeah. Okay, this sounds good to me. So I think it's good to stop here. We can continue with the second task on the next stream. Maybe it's gonna be next big week. So I was usually doing those streams on Fridays, but I had a problem, or like I had something else for tomorrow. That's why I chose to do it today. But maybe I can do that on Friday next week, or during the week next week. So I will see. But yeah, thanks a lot for joining, and thanks a lot for watching the stream. And yeah, see you next time.